Well, our next subject is the exact opposite of the first subject. We had hypothermia, or cold-related illnesses in the previous video. In this video, we're going to talk about hyperthermia, or heat-related illnesses. Of course, these are medical emergencies, most of them. And of course, this could very well be a medical emergency if it gets to an extreme. There are two different types of hyperthermia. One would be produced from inside of the body. That would be like for febrile seizures that can occur, high fevers in infants and small children and adults at times. And that's kind of internalized hyperthermia. You also have hypothermia, we think of it usually from the sun and too much heat, and the body overheats and goes into heat exhaustion, heat cramps maybe, and heaven forbid, heat stroke, which would be very serious. So with those classifications in mind, how do we first prevent febrile seizures? Well, kind of keep an eye on your child, infant, and make sure that they're not fussy or running a fever or something like that. Always give, you can give prescribed medications over the counter, usually with your pediatrician's advice. And there's another situation where you would use wet towels, cool towels, to actually cool the body down. Pat that towel on the chest area where the blood flows, and the underarms, along the neck here, where there's a lot of blood flow here due to carotid arteries. And you can cool the body down like that, and of course liquids play a big role in this too, in keeping the body temperature down, so we can perspire and probably lose that fever from whatever it is. Could be a viral or bacterial infection or other reasons for that. But the treatment for febrile seizures and the treatment for heat exhaustion or heat cramps from external sources are kind of the same. Now we have to remember this. Little kids, they just don't remember when to get out of the heat. They get too busy playing, and whenever they're playing a lot like that, they don't think of thirst as much as us adults do. They just think having fun, and they get distracted very easily. And we know that. We've got to kind of watch after them. So it's very important to understand that their bodies are a lot different than ours too. They don't have as much blood volume. So their blood is going to become thicker as they get dehydrated more, a more taxing situation for the kidneys, and sometimes they won't even realize it. So we really need to keep an eye on our kids. If it's 80, 85 degrees outside, we need to make sure that they get a good 30-minute break every 30 minutes, even in shaded areas, and 6 to 8 ounce glass of water, so they don't go into a situation that would be a medical emergency. That's the key. Prevention keeps them hydrated. That's the key for any type of hyperthermia. But for hypothermia from an outside source, the hydration is the key, and also keeping them out of the heat source for a certain period of time too. Now, if we can prevent it by keeping them hydrated, and keeping an eye on them, make sure to keep them cool off every certain amount of time, every 30 minutes or so. And it does occur, heat exhaustion, heat cramps occur. Heat exhaustion occurs because a person is just worn out from the heat, and they need hydration quickly. A glass of iced tea won't hurt. A nice cool soda pop or something like that. We'll cool the body core temperature down quicker when we drink something a little bit cooler. Don't drink too cold, too fast, or you'll get the little brain freeze thing going on. But I think that'll be regulated, especially if they're responsive and they're able to drink freely, and they'll get cooled down quickly if you offer them plenty of water. The hydration, I can't stress it enough, is the key, and that's going to help them lose their body heat. Humans lose body heat through sweating, and as that sweat perspires, the body is cooled off internally. So we have to keep it hydrated. What happens if it gets very serious? It turns into a situation called heat stroke. Heat stroke affects generally people in the South and of course the Midwest. Can affect any part of the country, I guess, but more prevalent in areas where it's warmer. Heat stroke is very serious, and the fact that the body's core temperature is getting to the point literally where brain cells are being cooked in a way. So heat stroke is very dangerous. How can we've already talked about preventing heat stroke, plenty of water and limit activity in hot weather also. But as far as what happens if we think if it's occurring, what are the symptoms? First off, you may have the symptoms very well like a stroke due to a blockage of blood leading to a brain or leading to the brain or area of the brain. There'll be one-sided paralysis, the slurred speech. There could be some type of dizziness or unsteadiness for a certain period of time. In those situations, it's very important to get them in a cool environment as soon as you can. We need to be a little bit more aggressive with heat stroke to the point where we need to intervene with wet towels. Put wet towels underneath their underarms, and that will keep the brachial artery blood flow cooler, a large artery that goes down the arm here. Put wet towels in their chest cavity to cool the internal blood flow down. As that water evaporates, it'll cool the temperature down internally. And put wet towels in their groin area, down their underwear. And as that wet towel evaporates, it will cool the area where the femoral artery blood flow is. So we need to be a little bit more aggressive. If we think heat stroke, call 911, put wet towels or rags in these areas, and of course get the individual out of that heat as soon as you can. Thanks for watching heat strokes, and thanks for watching heat-related illnesses. Let's avoid it by staying hydrated, keeping the eye on our children whenever they may be running a fever and things like that, and always knowing from the pediatrician that you go to what type of fever-reducing medication he suggests for your child. Take care, and we hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.